What's up, y'all? Peace. So, not doing a shadow stroll tonight. So, I gotta get into some work as per usual. But I just want to hop on and talk about something real quick. And that something is you gotta be you. You can't be everybody else. You can't be them. You can't do what they do. Everybody got their own role to play. And the reason why there's a lot of problems, I think, in this world is because a lot of people, I saw a figure that said something like 85% of people are followers. There's about 10% of people that are leaders, and 5% of people are observers. I think I actually heard Erica Badu say this. So we won't get into the observer end because that's kind of beyond the scope of this particular conversation. But the thing is, like, okay, I get it. Not everybody is geared to be a leader. Not everybody's geared to blaze a trail and a path for everyone else to walk on, and all those kind of things. That's fine. That's cool. But on the same token, those of you who may choose to be followers or choose to kind of vicariously live through other people and just walk along paths that other people lay out without actually utilizing your own discernment, oftentimes because evil is so noisy out here, oftentimes you can very easily get led astray if you don't utilize your own mind, your own thinking. A lot of people will follow people and they won't even think, is this the right person to follow? Or they'll do things and they won't even think, is this the right thing to do? It doesn't even cross their threshold. And that's a problem because there's people out here who will intentionally lead people astray. There's people out here that are doing bad things and harmful things intentionally. So, what's up, y'all? Hey, JC. What's up, Jamie? What's up, Voodoo? What's up, Sean? What's up, Marina? So, this is what I mean when I say, like, you have to be mindful of who you're actually, if you are emulating to somebody, because, like, I get it. Look, like, we all look up to people. We all see someone who's doing something that we aspire to do, and they inspire us. I get all that. That's fine. But what are you doing? What are you here for? What? Who are you? You ever looked in the mirror and asked that? Like, asked it like second person. Like, you're looking at the mirror, you point at it, and you say, "Who are you?" Right? If you've never done that, I would recommend it. Just to try it, see what answer comes. But even if you don't do that, I think it's really, really important to take time to analyze yourself, analyze what you're here for, analyze, just look back on your life, like look back on your past. I mean, you may be young, so it's fine. No, I'm not gonna call you that, Pablo. That's weird. Nah. What's up, JC? Look at the path that it took for you to get to where you are. Some of you may be young, that's fine. You may not have that much of a path. You may have just, you may still be in school. You may be in college, university, still kind of figuring it out. That's fine. But just look at what things drew your interest. What topics drew your interest? What activities drew your interest? What type of people you decided to be around, right? Are they the type of people who they love heavy metal? Are they the type of people that love drill music? Are they the type of people who, they're just hippies? Maybe they like to smoke. Maybe you're around people that are drinkers. Maybe you're around people that like playing video games. Maybe your friends like to play Dungeons and Dragons and shit like that. Like whatever it is, look at what it is that is actually making you gravitate towards these people and towards these activities. What is it about it that you enjoy, right? because there could be the actual activity itself, depending on what it is. It, it could be either way, right? It could be good or it could be bad. Not necessarily saying people who are playing Dungeons and Dragons are all antisocial nerds, because I was one of those kids that played Dungeons and Dragons with my friends, but I'm not really antisocial. I don't really deal with a lot of people unless it's like related to business or something like that. But I wouldn't judge a book by its cover in that case. But my point is, okay, what are these activities? What are these habits? What are these things doing for you? Are they enriching your life? Do they bring you joy? If it brings you joy, to sit and play Dungeons and Dragons, or sit and play, some video games, 2K or Call of Duty or something like that with your friends, that's fine, yeah. But just, don't get lost in it, because regardless of what your path is, there's probably something you can do that can be a bit more productive. There's probably something that you can do that can get you a little bit closer to that goal, that objective, that dream that you have, right? What's up, Njombo? I don't know how to say your name. Pardon me for that. So then you have to analyze how much time you're spending on it, right? Like, look, I grew up in the 90s. I'm a 90s baby. And I spent a lot of time on video games, all the way from Sega Genesis to the first PlayStation to Xbox to PlayStation 2, onward and onward. Got a PC, decked out my PC so I can play games on it, all that stuff. I spent an excessive amount of time on video games as a kid and a young adult, like my early 20s, etc. Now, because of the path that I'm on and the things that I'm intent to do and the things that I do on a regular basis, I don't have time for video games. Okay, we'll just put one thing out there. I have children, small children. One is turning one, my baby girl, on Monday, and my baby boy is 2, and I also have a older son as well. I don't have time to sit and play video games. Like, yeah, I could, try and create a space to where I play the games with them or whatever, but it just doesn't really seem conducive to me, or productive to me. I rather show them how to use their mind. I rather teach them things. I rather show them how to read, how to, identify their colors, how to, music. Like, my son is starting to, anytime I get on the mic and I start rapping, he wants to grab a microphone and start rapping too. And he gets in the mic. He gets frustrated with me if I don't if I don't set up a mic for him too. So, like, right, like, these are the things that are important to me. Outside of work. Work is a whole nother beast in itself. That's what I spend a majority of my time with. But when it comes to you, you have to analyze, what are you here for? What is your job? What's your task? What is your role? What do you, not necessarily even like, what was I sent here to do? It don't got to be all mysterious and shit. What do you feel called to do? What do you feel compelled to do? Right? What do you want to elect yourself to do? A lot of the majority of the things, because I'll be honest, I've never been the type of person to like really just like follow instructions just to follow them. I did very well in school, but if a teacher told me something that didn't make sense to me, they have to explain it. And if they didn't explain it, there's chances are I wouldn't do it. It's all right. I'll make it up on, oh, you got some extra credit coming up later? Okay, I'll do that instead. I'll make it up a little bit later in the semester. And I'll still probably ace their class. Right? There's ways around things, or ways about things. So my point is, like, I've never been, even, as a teenager with my parents, my father, etc. We used to butt heads because if he told me to do something and it didn't make sense and he wasn't willing to explain it, chances are I wouldn't do it. Now, mind you, I'm going to take care of my duties. Even as a child, I will make sure that, I handled all my chores and made sure my little sister was good and all that kind of stuff. But anything extraneous from that, you're going to have to answer a question or two. And if you answer a question, then I'll do it. But if you're not willing to, not gonna. So that's always kind of been in my character. I never just follow just to follow. I never follow trends just to follow them. I never listen to music that other people listen to just because they're listening to it. Chances are I would just distance myself and just go do what I feel called to do. So on the other side of that coin, on the flip side, is what I would do oftentimes is I would elect myself to do things. If there is something that I see that isn't being done, a task that maybe needs to be handled that isn't being handled, and I have the capability to handle it, I'm gonna do it. Even if I don't know how to do it, I'm gonna figure out how to do it and do it. And then guess what? In the process, I'm gonna learn how to do it. Right? Sometimes it's a matter of doing that. Sometimes you really got to challenge yourself, and you really got to be willing to step outside of your normal comfort zone. Right? Like, somebody said the sound went out. You hear me now? Drop a one in the chat if you hear me. All right, I'll keep talking. Hopefully it picks it up. All right, appreciate it, Senator. We're back. So my last 9 to 5 was in the pandemic. Like I said, I was in position to make probably easily 100K that year. Pandemic shut everything down, and that was kind of like my last ditch effort. Like I moved cities and all that kind of stuff for it. And I'll be honest, I was on the streets while I was doing that. I was bouncing hotels to hotels, and it was in the hotel industry, so I was able to get a plug at the time. I literally just picked up and just left my town. Oh, ships outside, and I just decided to do what I was doing there. So when that shut that down, that was kind of a wake up call for me. And I was like, look, I was already on the fence of starting my own business and really taking everything that I was doing seriously. Okay, now I'm just going to focus entirely on that because clearly, if I try to become someone's employee, clearly that shit ain't gonna work. Clearly, the shit could get shut down at any time. Now, that might not be the case for you, but it was what I saw in my cars. So I had to move accordingly. And I don't regret it. It's difficult. But just like Miyamoto Musashi said, the greatest samurai to ever live and grace this earth. 62 duels to the death, never lost. Fought in 3 wars, 2 of them on the losing side, never lost. Got chased down by 15 assailants into a forest by himself, and with 2 blades took them all down and got out of there. He said it's difficult at first when he was talking about using 2 swords and using both of them to attack or defend, not just one to attack and one to block like most people would. He said it's difficult at first, but everything's difficult at first.
So that's how I treat things that are new to me. That's how I treat learning a new skill or a new ability or whatever the case is. I know it's going to be difficult, but I enjoy that process, right? That's me. Again, I'm not saying this is what you need to do because when you charge headfirst into immense amounts of adversity, at times it can put you in positions that can be pretty difficult, especially if you have a family to consider and account for. You have to get very creative in how to mitigate certain issues that may come your way. But I couldn't do it any other way. I've picked up so many new skills over not just forget the last 3 years, over the last 3 months. I picked up so many new skills that I didn't have before, and found so many new things that I can do to contribute to the good in this world. Like it amazes me. It blows my mind. I forget what my age is sometimes because it gets to a point to where it really doesn't matter. A lot of people feel like they're gonna plateau after their 30s. No, that's up to you. It's up to what you decide to do. That's why it's important, just like I titled this live, to be yourself, regardless of what your position is, regardless of where you're standing, regardless of what you have come from, what your background is. You have the pen to write and control your fate for everything that happens in your life. So you don't got to follow them. Saw a clip, NBA YoungBoy said, music industry is demonic. I'm very demonic. And, all I know, I make the music that all those young boys, those YNs go out and drill to. He knows he's the problem. Yet these young kids, maybe they don't know better. Maybe they don't have any guidance. Maybe they don't, have people around them to tell them that's not the way to go. They'll continue to follow people like him anyway, even though he's basically saying he's lost. He and that goes for all of them. I can name after name after name. We all know how the rap industry is. But it's not even just that because it goes further. I keep an eye on, even though I don't get engaged in it, I keep an eye on like the state of politics and geopolitics and the whole Republican versus Democratic, all that kind of stuff, all the commentators in it. It's the same shit over there. I look into what people call the conscious community. We got brothers like Phase One that has done thorough work in exposing. It's the same shit over there. So why are you following somebody if most of these people don't even know what the fuck they're doing? And if they do, well, first of all, if they're walking true, then by all means, walk with them. Still don't follow them. But if they know what they're doing and what they're doing is causing harm, you would have to be a fool to follow them. So you have to determine what it is that you are here to do. What will you elect yourself to do? Every position I hold in every space, in every community I've ever been in, I've elected myself. Yes, maybe someone might recognize that I have a certain drive towards doing certain things and completing things and, maintaining focus on certain objectives and things. But at the end of the day, I still had to raise my hand and say, hey, I'm here. I can do this. I'll go ahead and get started because that's what I do. That's me. I don't want to be any of these other people. I'm gonna wrap this up in a minute, but I used to look up and like really like super admire a few select rappers. Like I really admire Lupe Fiasco for his wordplay, his storytelling, and all those things. I really looked up to, and I mean, I'm talking about for like 10 years. I wanted to make music like Currency, and I wanted to live a lifestyle like him. I really looked up to Mickey Fax and his storytelling ability and his fierceness, ferocity when it comes to rapping and battle rapping and things. But then, I've had interactions with all these people in some way, shape, or form. I've had conversation with Lupe or two. I've shared a track, maybe two tracks with Mickey Fax, in the underground, and I have a couple tracks out with Currency on a couple albums back. Now that I've kind of had these experiences and I've grown into who I am, and I know who I am, I don't really want to be any of them. I don't really want to. I don't idolize any of them. I see some of these people as my peers, yes, but my point is like I don't want to be them. I don't want to smoke 2 ounces of weed every day like Currency. I used to think I wanted to, but I don't want to do that shit. That's expensive, and not only that, that's exhausting. I don't want to rely on shit like that. That's why I quit smoking weed 3 years ago. After smoking for 13 years, even people that I really admire and people that I walk with and respect, like a Phase One, for example, or even a 1440 ties I mentioned a few times on here. I don't want to be either of them either because they have their battles and I have mine. I have my own set of situations that I need to deal with. Have my own set of skills that I need to deploy and develop to be the best me I can be. Why? Because I need to be myself. So I challenge you to do the same. You be yourself. So, point of action. First of all, if you're new here, thanks for tapping in. Subscribe. Last, um, my most recent album, Soul Rising, is in stores. You can listen to it on my channel. You can pull it up on Spotify. It has 20 amazing artists, including Phase One, 1440 Ty, and a whole bunch of other individuals that I would consider very talented and enlightened. A lot of singing, spoken word, a lot of positivity and green light, and that's what it's all about. So that is out for you to enjoy. You can check it out on the website, link in the description. Grab some merch if you want. And I do have next album, my solo album called Mileage, is going to be coming out soon, along with a companion film. It's going to be a full length film. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we start to get a bit closer to it. But that album is about 80% complete. I just hit a studio session a few days ago and knocked out a few more of the songs, so we're almost done with that. Now, for you, here, I mean, I'm in Florida. Here it's about 10:30 p.m., 10:26. So it's nighttime. So what I would urge you to do, if you got children, go ahead and put your children to bed. If you got other duties you need to tend to, go ahead and do that. And then once you're finished, go into your room, turn out the lights, sit in a chair or sit in a bed, lay in a bed, and just ask yourself the question, who am I and what am I here to do? And just let the answers come to you. And as these answers come to you, what I like to do oftentimes, I might cut on the light and write it down. I don't really like writing on my phone when it comes to things like this, but I might write it down real quick in a notebook, a piece of paper, post-it note, whatever. And then once you get those answers, you'll ask yourself the question, okay, what can I do to see this accomplished? What can I do to accomplish this? What can I do right now to accomplish this? And just let the pen speak for you. Let the answers come to you. Run it through in your mind thoroughly. Put the pen to the paper. Read over it all. And if it's time for you to go to sleep, if you're a little tired, then just go to sleep. But just go to sleep thinking about what it would feel like to have achieved that thing. Feeling is the secret, right? Neville Goddard. You have to feel yourself in the end. So feel yourself actually being the individual, the person that has achieved that thing. What does it feel like around you? What is the environment like? What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? Right? What does it feel like? And just drift off to sleep like that. And when you wake up tomorrow, wake up with intention to get it done. I do Sashug. That's divine love. Well, I do. Peace.